Hey everyone, it's Shiz. Today I wanted to show how to animate something and then how to export it out into Smile Game Builder. Let's start by animating a gear first and go from there. This isn't too basic, so I'm just assuming you have some knowledge of Blender. So first I'm going to add the actual wheel. You might pick up some stuff here that I'm doing. So if you hit Shift A in your mesh, I don't think it's added by default. Nope. So if we go to Edit, Preferences, and go into your add-ons folder, which is already highlighted, let's go ahead and add extra. Let's see if it's installed in this one. Extra objects. Yeah, here we go. This add mesh, just check that on. And I'm using version 2.9 Blender. So that's all you got to do. It's checked, hit the X, and now when we hit Shift A, we should have a new mesh. Where is that? Here. So now we've got these things here. So see here, it says gear, and you can see it makes a gear. So I'm gonna click this here, and you can mess with these settings. The teeth controls how many of those things you want. So let's just do one with about that many. Alright, that's good enough. Just left click anywhere off of it and it'll accept it. Now we want to fill in the holes, right? Because we don't want some kind of weird thing to happen. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm gonna hold Alt and left click to select all these vertices. Or whatever you have, or if you have edges selected, same thing. And then hold Alt and Shift and go ahead and do the top. Okay, so now that you have the bottom and the top selected, we actually want to go up here to face, yes, and you'll see a grid fill. If you just hit fill, it will try to just connect the top to the bottom, and it'll be a mess. So what you want to do is use the grid fill. And if you get an error, you see it says closed loops unsupported. What you want to do is go ahead and make sure your edge is selected and just click that, shift click the other one and hit F, and that'll fill that. And now try it again. So you hold Alt and then left click. Actually, it should select everything. So then we try that face and grid fill, and you see it perfectly filled it in. Now we go back into tab. Alright, I'm going to turn it, rotate on the x-axis, and then 90. There you go. Okay, so we have it here at the center. We can go ahead and start animating it. And down here, this is your timeline. This little circle here is your auto keyframing. So pretty much how you animate something is you make sure it's selected, and whatever frame you're on, here we'll say 1. And then you press the I key and this menu will come up. Now you're mostly going to be focused on these three: location, rotation, scale. Location is if you want it to move from here to here, you would key it here, move it, key it, and then it would fill in the gap. It'll animate it. Rotation works the same way, and then the size the same way. So if you wanted something to grow and shrink in size, so here we're just going to do the rotate. So we're going to go ahead and hit I. Oh wait, we're going to go ahead and turn this on, because having this on saves us from having to keep pushing I and clicking that. But for the first key, I do want to do that. So I, and I'm just going to do all three. Really, I'm not going to move it, so really I could just do rotation. But since we're gonna have it on top of the map, yeah, I'm gonna do location and rotation. Yeah, we're not doing scale, so we'll do that one. And you see it keyframed over here. So you could change things here and then keyframe them here, or we'll just do it this way. So let's go ahead and click that. So now it's blue. We know it's on. So this is the starting point. And now let's say at 40. Oh wait, before we go on, one thing you want to do, let's move this back, is go into here your render, where is it? Here, the output properties, and you want to make sure it's set to 60. If not, you're going to get errors. So once that's done, now we can start. So we're going to go ahead and move it. Let me just say we'll do 60. And now I'm going to press R for rotate, or you can choose them over here. Rotate. Here's also scale and move. And then this is the green is the y-axis, red is the x, z is up and down. So I'm going to rotate it on the y, right, on this. So I'm going to push R, Y, and now we move it. And if you want to see how much you're moving it, up here in the corner, you can see the numbers changing. You can't do 360 because then you'll get no animation. So you have to do 359. And an easier way to do this, instead of trying to get it on there, I right click so it reset it. Left click is to commit. Anyway, R, Y, and then just type it in. So 359, and you see it did it, and hit enter. And now when you click on this and drag through it, you'll see that it's moving. So yeah, it's spinning to the right. That's what I wanted it to do. I was doing this, so I thought it was going left. Whatever. Okay, so we have our animation, and if you want to play it, you hit play. And there you go. And the thing is, if you're gonna add more animation, okay, so there's like a max on the animations in Blender. I don't know if they fixed it yet, but I think 250 is the max. And there's a plugin that comes with a software, and if you have anything that's over that, you just drag it in there and it creates some kind of file, and then you just import it. But since this is all we're gonna animate, so I can just test that area, I'm gonna click here on the end, set it to 60, and then I'm gonna hit play so we can see it in action. Now you can see it kind of slows and stops, right? The first thing is, because it ends right before it, we want to add an extra key. So I'm going to add 61, and then at 61 I'm actually going to left click, make sure nothing is selected. When they're selected, they're yellow. You want to drag, hold shift and press D to duplicate. Sorry, that was S. Shift and D, and then it'll make a copy, and just drag it over to the 61, and so now it should end where it's supposed to. And so now it should make a full circle. Now it's still stopping and then going, and in order to fix that, you want to go into your animation tab up here, and then you want to go to the channel. You want to go to linear mode, and so that should make it a straight line. So now if we go back, hit play, it shouldn't slow down now. Since it's still stopping, that means that we might have to pull this out some. Alright guys, what I ended up doing is I had to figure out why I wasn't turning, and I didn't like that other keyframe. So you're actually better off just having these two, but you do want to add the 61 because then it makes it a smooth transition. So now when we hit play, it should just kind of loop. Let's see, 62, see what that looks like. Nope, there's a bit of a lag there. So yeah, I think at 61 it looks okay. And that's it on the animating part. So let me show you how to actually import it. First, you got to make sure this has a material, right? Because you'll get an error about a material. So let's go ahead and just add a texture paint. And over here, make sure material is selected, and then I'm going to do base color, and then I'm going to name it gear test. Doesn't matter, you can name it whatever you want, just make sure you know where you save it. you want to save it in the same spot you export this. So we really don't need that big of a file. I mean, I'll do 512, although you could go, you could go lower, since you could even use the one they have in theirs. If you export one of their files on some of their objects, they just use this really long line of colors, and then you just pick the color, and then you could use the same, you can use that same image for a bunch of your models, so you wouldn't have to create a texture. But here it's if you wanted to paint it or do different things, you know. So go ahead and we'll just pick a, I don't know, gray type. Hit OK. If you want to see the color, hit color up here, and that's what it is. And let's look at it here. There you go. You want to go back here, go to tab to edit mode, A to select all, U to unwrap, and I'm just going to smart UV project it, hit OK. Make sure that you get that done, and now it's good to export. If you want to paint it, you can go back here. There. Make sure you save this image first though. So image and go to save. Since it's a test, I'm just going to save it on my desktop. Call it gear test. That's fine. And now go back here. Also, you can see it there. When we play it, here you go. Go to file. Oh, here's one thing. As it stands here, this is the origin, so when you import it in, it's going to be sticking out of the floor. I'll show you what it looks like now, and then I'll show you how to bring it up so it can play on the top and it's not in the ground. So if we go ahead and export it now, FBX, desktop, oops, gear test, export. That out. There's one more file we need to create before we import it in. Okay, so we have the image here, and we have the FBX here, and there's one more file we need to make, and that's a DEF file. So I would just open Notepad, and all you want to do is type in anim for animation, and then you want to set your now you want to go look at your animation. And so it starts at 1 and it goes to 61, right? So that's going to be your I'm just going to call it spin. So you put the name that you want your animation to be named first, and then I'm going to put 161, and we're going to want to loop it, so you want to put loop there. Now I do want it to not move, so we can also put stop, and we'll put 1, and go ahead and save as, oh no, go ahead and save it. Yeah, it'll ask us where. Okay, I'm going to save it on the desktop, and we want to name it exactly the same as our FBX. So let's go look at what we named it. We named it gear test, so we want to go make sure we put that in gear test .def, and then hit save, and now we have this file. It's a DEF file. So now when we import it, when we import this, it's going to automatically import those two, and we should have the option to switch between the two animations. So let's go ahead and try it out. Let me open up Smile Game Builder. Okay, we're in, and I was making some pumpkins for the Halloween jam. Delete that. We're going to go ahead and go to add assets, go to maps, go to objects, go to add, and then find it. So here's the gear test. Double click, hit OK, no errors, and now we should get wherever the folder was, you get the name of the folder. And now we can see it. Oh, I made an error. You can see already, this thing is huge, right? Easy fix. And I forgot to do this. I normally do it, so sorry about that. So when we go to a file, export FBX, you want to make sure that you're set here to 0.01 scale, and then you want to make sure you do selected objects. I was trying to rush through this, sorry. Just hit export, and it should override the other one. And let's go ahead and go back in here, and then you can delete that, and let's re-import it in. And now you see it. There you go. If you hold down Alt button, right mouse button, you can move it around, you know, or left mouse button and do that. So now it's at stop, and if you hit spin, or if you change it to that, you should see it move. And there you go. Now when you put it in, where desktop, you'll see it sticking out of the ground, and we want to go ahead and advanced event. Okay, change graphic, switch it to spin. Okay, apply, and now you'll see it spinning. Maybe that's the effect you want, but let's go ahead and fix it, make a second one, and make that one floating over the top. Go back to Blender. Now we want to make sure this is still on, and so we're going to go ahead and bring this up. So I press G to grab it and Z to go up axis. There you go. And over here, if you press N, there we go, we can see how far up we moved it here. You can copy that, left click in there, hit copy, and then we want to move over here since the keyframe was there. So location, hit enter. Okay, and then that should stay there. There you go. So let's watch it now. Okay, and now we go ahead and export it. FBX, desktop, gear. Let's try gear T, export. Okay, you want to make sure you make a copy of your DEF file and then just rename it to what your new object is. I did that. I made a copy off screen because I had an issue, but we're going to go ahead and import it, the new one in. And all right, here's a moment of truth. There we go, it worked. Export it and change the name. Make sure you do it at the same time before you import it in, or you get errors. Yeah, so all I did was just re-exported it and then change the notepad def file and then re-import, and now we have both. So they're both good. Now let's go ahead and test it and see what it looks like. Oh. This is it. Alright, and we want it to spin. Spin, apply, okay. There we go. And you can copy and paste them. You can rotate them. Wow, they actually fit right in there, don't they? Or at least it looks like it. That's kind of cool. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll try to make some more videos, and I'll talk to you guys later.